In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to deploy Django and React apps on Vercel. We're going to walk through the full deployment flow in a simple, practical way so you can get both your front end and back end online with as little friction as possible. If you're working with a React app for the front end and Django for the back end, Vercel can make deployment very streamlined, especially when your code is already organized clearly. To begin, make sure your Django front end and back end are prepared for deployment. This means your project should already be working locally, and your files should be organized in a way that makes deployment straightforward. It's a good idea to confirm that your dependencies, build behavior, and production settings are ready before uploading anything. That preparation saves time later and helps avoid deployment errors. Next, push your Django backend files to a dedicated GitHub repository. Keeping the backend in its own repository can make deployment and maintenance much cleaner, especially when you're working with a separate React frontend. If you haven't already done this, upload the complete backend codebase so Vercel can pull directly from GitHub. After that, head over to the Vercel dashboard and click Add New, then select Project. This is where you'll connect your code repositories and create your deployments. Vercel's setup flow is designed to be beginner-friendly, so once you're in the dashboard, the process becomes fairly guided. From there, import both your React repository and your backend repository. Since the front end and backend are separate applications, each one should be imported as its own project. This gives you more control and keeps deployments isolated, which is especially helpful for updates and troubleshooting. Once imported, Vercel will usually detect the correct framework configuration automatically. That means it can often recognize whether the repository is a React app or a Django-based setup and apply the expected defaults. Even though this is automatic, it's still worth reviewing the detected settings before moving on, just to make sure everything matches your project structure. Next, go to environment variables and add whatever values your app needs in production. This may include things like a secret key, production debug settings, or a database connection string. Be careful here because these values are essential for security and functionality. Also, make sure you're using production-safe values rather than local development ones. Finally, click Deploy and let Vercel build and publish your app. When the deployment finishes, save the live URL that Vercel provides. You'll likely need that link for testing, sharing, or connecting your front end and back end together. Once both projects are deployed successfully, you'll have your Django and React apps live on Vercel and ready to use.